This is where it all starts. I am rebuilding this 2-litre Duratec engine ready for the 2026 race season, and this engine has got to handle over 200 horsepower. So let's get into it. Right, today's plan is to build up this short block. We've got the pistons, they've all been cleaned in the ultrasonic cleaner. This has been hot washed and cleaned and then painted. So this is all good. We're also going to hone it, make sure that it's ready for new piston rings to go in. Got to gap the piston rings, so I've got a little manual grinder to sort out the gaps on those. I've never done that before, so that should be interesting. And then it's a case of putting the crankshaft in with the main bearings and new ARP studs and bolts, and then drop the pistons in, bolt those up with also ARP bolts, and then front and rear seals, not the front seal because the front seal's on the front cover, but the rear main seal obviously. And yeah, we should then be good, I think, and then hopefully at the end of the video we'll rotate it all and we'll see the pistons all going up and down nicely. So yeah, assembly lube all in there to make sure it doesn't run dry, and we're rocking and rolling. So let's get to it.
Static rising, the air ignites. Shadows tremble, fear takes flight. Chains are breaking, sparks collide. Alright. Feel the pulse, it won't slow down. Hear the roar, it shakes the ground. Unbreakable chaos, we rise. Through the dark we light the sky. Unstoppable force, conquer lies. Unbreakable chaos, we rise. Oh, we rise. Voltage surging, circuit scream. Flagrant shadow bursts the seams. Hope reborn in shattered dreams. Alright. Feel the bass, it tears the void. Hear the power, it's deployed. Unbreakable chaos, we rise. Through the dark we light the skies. Unstoppable force, conquer lies. Unbreakable chaos, we rise.
That's the block all honed up now, so we've taken off the shine and the glaze that was inside these pistons, and we've now got it honed nicely, as you've just seen. So we're looking good now. We will start gapping the piston rings. I've never done this before, and I've definitely never done it to the sort of precision that is going to be required by this engine. So as we've said, we're going for 208 brake horsepower in this 2-litre Duratec. So I need these piston ring gaps to be perfect. Too big, I lose compression. Too small, I get no oil and all sorts of things go horribly wrong. So I'm going to do some research quickly, find out the exact piston ring gap I need, and then get those all measured in, and you'll see that process coming up. Let's get to it. That's the first ring gapped for piston number 1. So it is down to 18 thousandths of an inch, which is this one here. I'm not sure if you can actually see it. Is it going to let it focus? There we go. Yep, 18 thousandths of an inch. So that is the gap that is set for the first ring, which is this top ring here. Now we have the joys of fitting these, and then I was taught a little trick about this, and you just do that apparently. When I say I was taught it, I saw it on YouTube, and that was the first time I've ever done this with that little trick, and it worked. So that's the first ring in. Now these pistons have all been ultrasonically cleaned. I need to inject a little bit of oil into here, into these gudgeon pins, because these are a press fit. My plan originally was to pull these out, clean them up properly, but seeing as these are a press fit and I don't have a shop press, that's not happening. So we've cleaned it up as best we can, looks good. The rest of it should clean out nicely with a bit of high temperature running, but that is the first ring gapped and fitted. Just got to do all the rest of them now. So we will make sure we get the gaps right. You'll see the process.
Static rising, the air ignites. Shadows tremble, fear takes flight. Chains are breaking, sparks collide. Alright. Feel the pulse, it won't slow down. Hear the roar, it shakes the ground. Unbreakable chaos, we rise. Through the dark we light the skies. Unstoppable force, compromise. Unbreakable chaos, we rise. Oh, we rise. Voltage surging, circuits scream. Fragments shatter, burst the seams. Hope reborn in shattered dreams. Alright. Feel the bass, it tears a void. Hear the power, it's deployed. Unbreakable chaos, we rise. Through the dark we light the skies. Unstoppable force, compromise. Unbreakable chaos, we rise. We rise.
So we've got all of the piston rings gapped now. Just thought I'd do a little one. So we've got the front of the piston there's a little arrow on it, that way. So the top ring has its gap on that side, directly opposite the front, the rear if you will. And then the second ring has it at the back. Then the oil ring, that one has it down here. And then the top oil ring is up there and the bottom oil ring is there. There is a lot of discussion as to whether that actually matters, because once it's in the engine and everything's all lubed up, these do spin around, but I'd rather play it safe and not have the gaps all lined up, because that just ruins compression. So I am putting them in clocked, as they call it. So you make sure with your oil ring that it doesn't overlap. So you can see there's a little bit of a gap there. So it's not on top of itself. And then I've got the top one and the bottom one to go in either side. Right, so that's the block honed. Whoops, careful with your ring, that's tungsten. So that's all the block honed, all the cylinder bores honed. The pistons have all been gapped and mounted onto the pistons. Next step, make sure this is all spotlessly clean. Flip it up, clean it out. Put some assembly lube in there as well. I might just put some normal engine oil down the bores, and then go from there basically. But assembly lube definitely. Spin it over, put the crank in once I've inspected that, cleaned that up. So we're going to be putting some ACL race bearings into this. So we've got ACL race main bearings and rod bearings. So yeah, next step, clean, put everything in, and we'll see you on the other side of probably crankshaft. Alright, that's assembly lube on these bearings. So what assembly lube is essentially it's a thicker engine oil that actually breaks down in engine oil, but it stops the engine running completely dry when you first start it up. So that's that in. Next up, the all-important crankshaft. Now you have to be very careful with this and make sure you get it lined up, obviously, and don't get your fingers trapped anywhere. I am tempted to put a little bit more lube in there. just to make sure it doesn't cock up. That's nicer. Right, next step, we need to put this cage in. Now I can't remember which way it goes, which is going to be fun, isn't it? Is there a specific way? Yes, it's that way, because that is the cutout space for the oil pump. Right, let's give this a little bit of a clean, shall we? Right, that's now cleaned, but it can't go in yet because someone hasn't put the bearings on. So obviously bearings come in two halves. Say obviously, some people may not know that. It's a bit rude of me. Let's get into this packet. And then obviously more assembly lube on this side. Even though there is some on the crankshaft itself, I would rather have too much than not enough. As I said, this stuff breaks down in engine oil. So once we've run the engine in, we'll do an oil change and this stuff will all basically come out. But yeah, I'd rather have too much than not enough. Right, we got it the right way? Yep. So this now drops in over the crankshaft. And it's now in place. So this should still spin freely by hand, and it does. So there's a hot tip while we're at it. Now we're starting to put the moving parts into this engine. Always like check that it keeps moving basically. I'm just cutting my fingers up here. That it keeps moving at every single step. So I've now got to tighten up these, how many bolts? 10 bolts. And basically they've got to go to a specific torque. And I'm going to be checking that it still spins freely after each bolt is put in basically. So yeah, next step, bolts. Right, because we're using ARP fasteners, these beasts, there is a specific process you have to go through that comes on a handy installation guide with every set of stud and bit bolt and thing from ARP. So we now have, so the standard Duratec just has bolts. We now have studs, washers and nuts. And they all have the ARP Ultra Torque Assembly Lube. So I now have to lube up all of these threads, all of these nuts and all of these washers. So bear with and we'll get these hand tightened down and then we'll do the torquing process. Okay, that's everything hand tightened, as in tightened with these filthy hands. I'm now going to clean this lot off because that lube is absolutely disgusting. So clean my hands, then we're going to torque these down to 60 Newton meters, and it's like this essentially. We do that one, 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 that one. So you kind of do a circle, but not quite, is what I was taught. You sort of start in the middle, work your way out, and then, yeah, no, we'll just do a circle. So you start in the middle, that one, and then we'll come out. But first things first, let's make sure it still spins at finger tight. Yes, it does. Fantastic. So I'm going to clean my hands off a bit and I'll be back. So these studs, they claim, these new studs, and that's brilliant. Just cleaned my hands and got lube all over them already. But they need to be tightened up to 60 foot-pounds in 3 equal steps. So we're going to go 20, 40, 60. And as I mentioned before, we're going to go, we'll get the, so get it to 20, which is quite low. Right, and as I said before, after each stage, we rotate. There are no sticky points, so we're looking good. So, now we crank up the torque wrench again. So we loosen it off, and we rotate it round to 40. And there's no point in going click click to make sure that just wears out your tool. Always hold it at the end here, because that's where it's calibrated to. If you're doing it here, it's a completely different torque, and if you get an extension out here, it's an even different torque, even more different torque. So we just do a bit more. It's quite a lot more actually. And we'll check the rotation again. Strangely, it seems to be getting more and more free the more I torque it, but that actually makes sense in my head. So we now go up to 60. Crankshaft bolted down to its torque setting of 60 foot-pounds. Yeah, it's an American company, so they, ARP, the company that make the fasteners, they are based in California, I think. Yeah, California, Ventura, California. So they do everything in old money. Right, so that's crankshaft in. Pretty happy, it still rotates. Next step is to put in the pistons. So we'll start with piston number 1. So let's make sure the crankshaft on 1 is the furthest away. And then we'll spin the engine over. So we've got the conrod bolts, and again we have the lovely installation guide. Duratec. I mean, it says for 1.8, 2 litre, 2.3 and 2.5 litre, so they're all the same apparently. So they recommend using the stretch method. I do not have a stretch gauge, and it's also really awkward with this engine to do the stretch. So these need to be to 45 foot-pounds. But first things first, we need to check the fitment is all good. Okay, so they don't stick out. Yep, looking good. Right, we'll just clean this up a little bit. We now have to take out these rod bearings. But I just wanted to check these were the right sort of length, basically. Because there have been stories of people being sent the wrong ones, and then they've gone to install them, and at that point it's too late. So, right, we now need to make sure we take out these old bearings and pop the new ones in. The pistons all have a marking on them to say which way is the front. And then just use this little older than me hammer. Right, make sure that this is fully tight. There we go. Yeah, that's not going any tighter. And that is one piston in. Nearly. Conrods on the Duratec are actually quite interesting they're made as a solid unit and then snapped, so they only actually go back together one way. As a lot of others are sort of machined to work together in pairs. But yeah, Duratec's an interesting one for that. So yeah, got to lube up the conrod bolts now, and then I'll tighten these two and check we can still spin. I figured I'd learn from my mistakes. I figured this time round, let's glove up. So we put it on the threads. And under the head. And that one goes in there. And then we do the same again here. On the threads and under the head. And I'm not going to bore you with all of these, so yeah, there'll be a nice edit here, like, or something, I don't know. We'll do an edit, and magic of cinema and TV and YouTube. All the head studs will be, all the conrod bolts, get it right in a minute, all the conrod bolts will be in, fastened up and tightened to 45 foot-pounds. Banging. Right, that's all 4 pistons in and bolted up, and we should be good. I've poured a load of engine oil on the underside just as a bit of an extra protection, and you're about to see the pistons moving all up and down, hopefully. I'll put the front pulley wheel on, and then I'm just going to put a torque wrench on it and rotate it by hand. I'd call that a win. So next step, probably put the oil pump on, and then that is the short block fully reassembled basically, apart from like little ancillary bits that only come once we've fully assembled the top end as well. So yeah, that's a win. Happy days. So oil pump is now on. Next step is to get the new timing sprocket in with the pump and the chain tensioner basically. So we've got brand new chain, we've got the sprocket with its little fancy diamond washers, so they can go there and there, and then the new sprocket for the oil pump, and the tensioner which sits in here somehow. Can't quite remember how, maybe hooks in like that possibly. Yeah, we'll work that out. So yeah, you'll see me scratching my head probably. that's quite a big milestone, I'd say. We've got the first ancillary bit of equipment going on and the first bit of timing gear. Even though this isn't technically timing, this sprocket here is. So that's the first bit of timing. The crankshaft's in, all the pistons and conrods are in. They're all torqued up to spec. Everything still rotates. I'm a little bit excited, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, just taking a moment really to enjoy my handiwork. Yes, I get how that sounds, but I'm pretty happy so far. So yeah, if you want to see more of this, like and subscribe. The next video is going to be tackling that blue mess just off screen there, which is the cylinder head. So we've got to reassemble that with the new cams and then time it all up, which I'm still unsure how I'm doing that. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because timing this engine is really easy on standard cams, but I haven't got standard cams. And I've got a data sheet that I need to follow. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. So wish me luck with that one. So yeah, see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. Adios.